Okay, welcome back. We're going to go over one of these mini rack labs, and I've already configured this one, but we're going to log into it and just kind of look around and see exactly what needs to be set up to get this to work for these three VLANs. So I'm putting into the pfSense firewall right now and logged into the browser, to the GUI, to take a look as well. So the first thing we're going to want to do is to go to your interfaces. It's going to be a VLAN 1 interface. So I'm going to go to my assignments here. Looks like I've dropped connection. There we go. Now we're back. Okay, cool. So first thing, I'm going to go ahead and set these VLANs, right? So I'm over here in VLANs, and I'm going to go ahead and set these up. So I'm going to add to these new VLANs. I'm going to add VLAN 20 and VLAN 30 on the LAN interface or my USB NIC. So I'm going to add those to that, give it a description. So I'll just click the add button, add it, and then of course let's just look at it 20 just to show you kind of what it looks like. So it kind of looks like this. You want to make sure this is selected to your LAN and not to your WAN, and give it a VLAN tag, and then give it a description. So that's how you do our VLANs. So then once we get our VLANs added, we're going to go to our interface assignments, and from here you'll see them, and you're going to want to select on them and add them to the list here. So you're going to just select on that VLAN and then add it, and then you're going to want to save it. So once it's saved, and as an example, we'll go into VLAN 20. You're going to want to make sure the interface is enabled, and you're going to want to give it a static IP for that particular VLAN so that you can access that VLAN or access the pfSense. That's going to be your default gateway to access it. Then you're going to want to save it. I'm going to take these off just in case the bogons and the private networks. So back on interfaces, we're going to go back here to interface assignments. Going to do that for all these, enable those, and give them a name and a description and a VLAN. Then we're going to want to go to our firewall and go to our rules, and then you'll have tabs at the top for each one of those VLANs you created. So I just made a default allow anything to go through for each one of these, just to make things simple for the lab. Then once that's set up, you're going to want each one of those VLANs to have a DHCP. So you got your rules, you got your interface assignments, and you've got your VLANs added. So now you're going to want to go to services and go to DHCP server. And from here, again at the top, you'll have three different tabs, or your VLAN tabs will be there. And VLAN 20 as an example, we'll go into it, we'll make sure that DHCP is enabled on that, and we'll give it a range. I did 20 to 200. We're going to want to set the DNS. I'm going to set it to the firewall itself, and then of course to the external 8.888 to Google, and then gateway that, and then that should be it for that. So let's see. Let's go to our systems again and just look at things. I want to set this system itself. If I want to just go to the advanced setup, I want to have this system. Actually, let's go to just the general setup. pfSense, that'll be our name, our domain. I don't have one. Our firewall's DNS will be 8.8.8, right? So that's how that's going to communicate with the interwebs. And I'm going to set my time zone. We'll make sure that's correct. That's pretty much it there. To make sure your time zone and your DNS, if you don't have one, 8.8.8 for now for the lab. That's going out to Google. Okay, so that covers everything. I'm back on the main page. I always delete the ads and whatnot. There's another box that pops up there just so I have it, clean. I can see right away when I log in what's up and what's down. So I can see my VLANs are all, my VLAN 1, 20, and 30 are up. My LAN, don't have a LAN plugged in, so don't have that connected yet. And that is it for that VLAN. So I know right now that I am in VLAN 1 because I have plugged into a port that I have configured for VLAN 1. So I'm going to go to the switch and show you how that is configured, because I'm actually accessing the pfSense through the switch currently. So the switch address that I set this to was 10.10.10.11. For this switch, for the Cisco, it's a Cisco CBS 250. It's a little 8-port PoE switch. First thing that I want to do is come down to administration. I'm going to set this stuff here, Mr. Beard, Mini Rack Lab. I'm going to set a login banner, a welcome banner, and then my user accounts here. I'm going to, if I want to add another user account, I can here. I'm just going to leave the default one as Cisco, and then I, of course, reset the password because it prompts you when you log in to do that. And then that's going to be it for the administration side there until we need to do some backups or, backup these configs. So I'm going to look at port management. Should be fine. There shouldn't be anything on that we need to change. And we could, if we wanted to, do a link aggregation between to another switch, or firewall or whatever, to have 2 lines running for more bandwidth. Basically, I'm going to go to my VLAN configuration, and I'm going to go down to my VLAN settings. Let's just going to look around here. All right, cool. So this is where I added the VLAN. So I kept the default one. That's the default one, VLAN 1. So for this lab, you'd want to disable VLAN 1, change your default VLAN to something else, but we're just keeping this VLAN 1 for now, for simplicity for this lab. And we added 20 and 30 and set those. Let's take a look at 20 just real quick, just to see what's going on with that. Okay, so that's all we have. So it's just a VLAN ID, and then I set the VLAN name. So, okay, cool. So I can add another one if I wanted to here, and then I would just set the, the VLAN ID, and the name, and all that. But I'm not. So I'm going to go down to my port VLANs, and in here it shows you, when I change this option here to my 20 or 30, which ones are enabled or excluded. And right now I have the first interface set as a trunk, and so it's VLAN 1 is untagged, and then the other VLANs that I've added are going to be tagged. So, and then I've got port 8 also is as an untagged VLAN 1. And then if I go to my 20, hit go, it would say that one is tagged, 20 is tagged, and untagged 2, 3, and 4. So those ports right there are on the VLAN 20, and then those will be on VLAN 30, these 3, and of course this one's on VLAN 1. All right, so we can see that our trunk is going to be untagged VLAN 1, tagged 20 and 30, and then of course we looked around to see what the other ports are untagged. So there's always going to be one. You're going to want those untagged to connect to those different VLANs. And so one other thing I wanted to point out here was that they do have the general IP DNS list here. So I wanted to go ahead and put the DNS in here. So for this particular switch, what we're going to use for our DNS, we're going to use the 10.10.10.1 or our VLAN 1 interface for that. So to have that selected there, and a default domain name if need be. So go back to my dashboard. I wanted to look at, let's go to the configuration wizards here, or we're getting started here. So I wanted to look at the device itself. So probably the first thing you'll do in the switch is you're going to want to set it to a static IP address, because by default it's going to have a DHCP from that particular VLAN. So you're going to want to set it here. And I could put the other interfaces too if I wanted to connect to the switch this way as well, to be able to connect to it to configure it if I wanted it for management. But I just want it to be on VLAN 1 for management at this point, and that's it. So let's do a test. Right now I have it plugged into VLAN 1, and I'm getting a I'm getting a DHCP address of the 10.10.10.10 network. And so real quick, I'm going to unplug this interface and plug it into another port, and particularly the VLAN 20, to get another address. So let's see if it does that. I'm going to unplug it right now and plug it in. Plug it into the port VLAN 20 port. And we'll wait just a second, let it do its thing. It's still thinking, but while it's thinking, I'm going to check, do some details. There we go, boom, got an interface, got an address of the 10.20.2020, and so everything's good. It's getting a DHCP address from the firewall through the switch to a port that has been configured for VLAN 20. So everything looks good from here. Now the next thing is to reset it and start over again for the lab. So firstly, I'm going to want to back this guy up. So I would go to administration. Oh, and remember, different VLAN, can't connect to it. So let's plug back into VLAN 1, our management VLAN. So give me just a second here. So let this the NIC get a new IP address in that range. Hopefully it'll get the same one. It's still thinking, it's trying, give it a moment. There we go, boom, so now we got it. All right, cool. So now we'll come back over here. We're gonna log into the switch. We're gonna go to administration, file management, and then it's gonna be file operations, I believe. Now we're going to do backup, so we're clicking on backup, running config, HTTP. We're not have a USB plugged in. You could, or you can do internal flash, but we're going to do HTTPS, so it's going to come to the computer itself. So when I'm going to hit apply, it's going to download that file, ask me where I want to save it, and then I would save it here, and then there we go. All right, cool. So then I backed up my switch. Fantastic. Now, if I needed to import it, I could just come here and import it there. Helps when you're doing a bunch of these at one time. So for the firewall, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to go to diagnostics, backup and restore, and then from here I'm going to do a download XML, and then there will be the XML. Go to downloads. I'm going to save it, and well, bam! Now I have a copy of my firewall and a copy of my Cisco switch, so that I can upload it and get the same settings, and then maybe modify those a little bit. And it's pretty cool. So let me show you what it looks like when you open up that file. You go to my downloads. So when you open up the Cisco switch backup, it looks just like regular CLI and tells us about the VLANs, tells us about the switch port modes, gives us the VLAN 1 IP address, and then of course we're getting VLAN 20 and 30 from the pfSense, but we're just setting the static here for the address for VLAN 1. So everything looks just like it would on a regular CLI. So it's a really cool little switch to play with and to play around with VLANs and link aggregation and or LACP and just have fun with it. So hope you enjoy this video. See you next time.